Hey everyone, it's Dr. Etemadi here, and today I have a pretty special video for you. What I'm going to be showing is how I take my patients to Zirconia in just 2 weeks using the RapidArch workflow and also the Desai Splint workflow to get really accurate bites and aesthetics. And I can tell you 99% of my patients are just super happy with the outcome right away, and as am I with the occlusion and the aesthetics, and we get them into Zirconia within the first 2 weeks. Best case scenario, it takes 1 week. Worst case, it takes 2 weeks, and then they are pretty much done with treatment. In this video, I'm also going to be including surgical footage, and I'm going to be showing you footage of the Desai Splint in action and how you can do the whole process within RapidArch with about just 15 minutes on the computer. So this is ultra efficient. We're only open 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So I need to get my cases done quickly and predictably, and in this video, I'm just gonna show you how I do all of that. So we'll start here with this wax up. This is already done. It took me about 5 minutes to get this wax up done. Single arch cases take a little bit longer because you have to take into account the patient's opposing occlusion. But I'm going to show you how I did this one from scratch, and then we'll just come back to this case in particular because I'm going to show you how I put in my Desai Splint scan, get everything aligned, and then get it into our conversion software to do a conversion in about 20 seconds. All right, so let's get into it. First, I'm going to go into our home page over here. Let's take a look. All right, so we're gonna go to start a case and just hit new patient. For this one, we'll just call it 2-week Zirconia video. You don't have to put a date of birth. Let's just add the patient. And now we're gonna hit new case and we're gonna go into our RapidWaxup workflow. And this is gonna be a single arch case and it's the upper arch. Now, if you don't like this light look, you can also go here and just do dark mode. I like working in dark mode, so we'll just do that. And we're gonna drop in 3 scans that we need. So we're gonna have our patient photo, our lower jaw scan, and our upper jaw scan right there. And our software tells you where to put everything. So the alignment photo, we can just drag and drop that in first, and then we can put the lower jaw here and the upper jaw there. Let's hit close. Now that we have all of our scans that we need in here, we're just gonna fold that in, fold this in, and our software kind of guides you through the whole process. But before we do that, we're just gonna get this photo aligned, and it's super easy. Just go back to your optional inputs and you can click on Start Photo Alignment. Now this is gonna prompt you to click both pupils to level the photo. So let's just go ahead and click on the patient's pupils here and there, and that also gives you a midline to work off of. Here I see we're just gonna keep the midline similar to her existing midline. And we'll hit confirm. Now, here we're gonna click on a couple of points on the patient's photo and a couple of points on the scan. So let's just do this first premolar here, there, and then another first premolar here and there. And let's hit refine. From there, you can do a few things. You can click on the mesh around here to move it around. You can also click on these numbers to make the mesh a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller if you need to. And you can also click on the front to kind of rotate the teeth. So it looks like we need to rotate it downwards. And I'm gonna move this number 1 a little bit there. And it looks like we're already aligned. You can decrease the photo opacity and quickly increase it just to verify, but this alignment looks really good right away. And then let's hit next. And we're going to just select the patient's lips. This doesn't have to be perfect. and if you misclick, you can always just go back and kind of adjust it. So we'll hit confirm, and now what we'll see is that we have the patient's scan aligned to her face. What I like to do next is just kind of zoom out a little bit with the scroll wheel, and if you click on your right mouse button, you can kind of move everything around here. I'm going to center this, and I'm going to click remember view. So now I have this view. So we have our photo alignment view, and we have view number 2, just so I can see things from this perspective as well. All right, so our photo is aligned. I'm just gonna hide the photo by clicking on this eyeball icon. And what you're gonna see in RapidWaxup is that you have this wax rim over here. You have a 18mm and a 25mm option. This is for your severely atrophic cases, like a zygomatic case. So we're just gonna go with a 18mm here. And our next step is number 2, move and rotate wax rim and wax ups. So I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna click on show midline down here as well, because that shows me where the midline of our teeth are gonna end up. And moving this is really easy. You just put your mouse over it and you can move it anywhere you want. If you want to rotate it, it tells you here to hold option because I'm on a Mac. So I'm gonna click option, and I can also rotate my wax rim all over the place. So we're just gonna look from an overhead perspective, and let's bring the wax rim right there, and let's bring it down. All right, so what I see here is I'm intersecting in the posterior. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna click and rotate everything downwards. This is just kind of changing my curve. And let's move it back up. And I'm still too far down in the posterior, so let's just rotate down a little bit more. And I'm just gonna bring it back up. All right, so this is starting to look a little bit closer to what I want to have, but it's not perfect, but we don't really have to go for perfection at this point. So I'm just bringing that out to get the incisal edges lined up. And this is fairly close for me. This looks pretty decent. So let's just hop right into step 3, which is to select the tooth library. And for this case, I had picked, I believe it was Riley triangular flat. So we're just gonna click on that, and we're just gonna close this menu. And here I can just hide my wax rim. I can also hide my upper pre-surgical jaw scan and increase the opacity of my wax up. And let's go into view number 2. So a couple things I notice. The midline is a little bit off, it's canted, and it looks like the jaw is a little bit too narrow. So let's just go ahead and fix that. And that's just gonna be in step number 4. But before we get into that, I also want to evaluate by hiding the photo and the lower jaw and opening the upper jaw. So what I wanna check out is the arch width. And what I see here is that if we look at canine to canine, the arch width is a little bit too large. So I'm just gonna scale the wax up here. I'm just gonna kind of move that down a little bit to where it seems like the central incisors are about the same width as they were before, as are the laterals and also the canines. And let's go back into move and rotate, and I'm just gonna kind of pivot this around and get that a little bit closer. And let's go into the photo alignment view and view number 2 with the patient's photo. Okay, so this is looking a little bit better. I'm just gonna make my midline a little bit better. I think that looks a little bit more straight to me. Now the other issue is that the arch form is too narrow, and there's a very easy way to fix that. We just go into bend wax rim and wax ups. And when you click that, now you can just bend it to conform to the patient's own arch form. Just gonna go like that. Just gonna bend everything outward here. It's super easy to do. And let's decrease the opacity of the pre-surgical jaw scan. And this looks fairly close to what I want to have. Let's go into view number 2. Okay, that looks good. But now the issue is that the wax up is a little bit too far away from the occlusal plane in the posterior. So for now, let's just hit confirm bend. So at this point, we have the correct arch width. We have a good midline, but the posterior needs a little bit of love. So let's go back into move and rotate. And we're just gonna rotate this down there. And I'm also gonna rotate this down. I'm pressing the option key to do my rotation. And let's decrease the opacity one more time of the wax up and take a look at the incisal edges. Let's bring it up a little bit. And we'll rotate this down one more time. And rotate that down. And let's rotate this up and down. So this is why single arch wax ups take longer. If you're doing a double arch case, it takes literally 5 minutes to do that. Okay, so this looks fairly good to me now. And let's go into the next step, which is to draw the bone reduction plate. This is an optional step. I usually don't do it, but basically you click on the draw point. So first what you want to do is kind of get your scan aligned. You can use this view, but I like to just kind of get my occlusal plane horizontal. And then you click draw, and you can just draw your reduction. So now you have a wax up that's a little bit less tall. And the last step here is going to be to sculpt the wax up and refine it. So what we can do is turn our occlusion on, and we can see it's just hitting high kind of all over the place. So what that tells me is what I can do is go into move and rotate and just move it up just a little bit. And let's move it up a little bit more. Okay, this is starting to look a little bit better, but we're losing some occlusion in the posterior. So I'm gonna hide my pre-op jaw scan, and I'm going to go into sculpt, and now we're going to click add, and I'm just simply going to add a little bit of occlusion back into the posterior. And I'm not really picky with where it's going. I just want to get the whole tooth to be a little bit taller. And let's hit done. And all you got to do at this point is hit automatic occlusion, adjust upper, and your occlusion gets adjusted while maintaining the morphology of the teeth. So let's hit confirm. And now what we can do is go into view number 2, open up the patient's photo, and let's open up the lower jaw scan. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of tilt this a little bit more here and tilt that a little bit. So now I have kind of an even cant. The midline looks really good, but what I just did was now my occlusion is gonna be all high on the patient's right side again. So real easy fix. One more time, let's just go to automatic occlusion, adjust upper, and there we have it. Hit confirm. And this wax up is now considered complete. So take a look at the photo one more time. So this looks good. Now let's hop back into the original WaxUp that I had done. It was the same exact tooth library. I believe we have it right over here. So I'm gonna open up this case. Okay, there we go. I ended up adding some second molar extensions because I was going to put implants on the second molars as well. But what I want to show you is the Desai Splint workflow at this point. So I'm just gonna drag in one of my scans. This is the upper jaw scan for the Desai Splint. And let's just put it right into the Desai Splint scan right here, which is optional. Let's drag that there and I'll show you guys what this looks like. I'm just gonna hide everything here. And what you want to basically do is capture some of the teeth along with this splint that I just placed some blue mousse, and it's right on the teeth right there. And you'll notice scan bodies that we'll have to detect. So let's hit start, splint alignment, and detection. Now here we're going to click on 4 points on each mesh. Let's just go 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm just rotating this here. We'll go 1, 2, where am I? This is the canine, 3, and 4. And we'll hit apply. Okay, so here we can check our alignment. We get a lot of solid blue, so this is a good alignment. And let's hit confirm. And the next step is to pick the scan body that you used. Our software supports all of these scan bodies. If you don't have any of these, I recommend Gen X narrow or wide. In this case, I used the narrow, so we're gonna click that and just click 2 points on each of the scan bodies, and our software will detect it for you. So there's 1 and there's 2. All right, there we go. Let's hit confirm. And what you'll notice now in our software is that you have the detected scan bodies relative to your WaxUp. So at this point, the whole WaxUp step is finished. This is gonna allow us to not even use an intraoral scan on surgery day. And in this next clip, I'm gonna show you exactly how this Desai Splint works during the surgery. All right, so this one's actually a different case, but the principles remain the same. The teeth that you use to support your Desai Splint in your pre-op intraoral scan, you want to keep those during the surgery. Place at least a couple of other implants, and then you'll put your splint on the teeth. And then take a photogrammetry scan. You're essentially turning the patient's teeth into photogrammetry posts, which is what makes this technique super accurate. We are not depending on inaccurate intraoral scans during the surgery. And here I'm using the Tupel photogrammetry device. It's a very decently priced option. We have it on our web shop. It's super accurate, and if you purchase it through our site, you get a few thousand RapidArch credits as well. After you take your splint scan, extract the remaining teeth, place your remaining implants, take a photogrammetry, and the Tupel will automatically align everything for you. Okay, so that was the surgical footage. So as you saw, we just did 2 separate photogrammetry scans, and now let's go into the conversion. This is the really cool part. You'll see how quickly it goes. And I'm still inside my WaxUp page, but you can do this from your patient's page. It's just right here. You can click new case, but I'm just in the WaxUp, so let's go to new case from here, and we're going to select our patient. This is going to be Crystal. Use this patient, and we're doing the Desai Splint workflow. Again, single arch, and we're going to import our case from RapidWaxup. And this is all in the cloud, so this is linked to the patient. We're gonna click import, and you can do this before your surgery even starts. So we have our WaxUp that's in here. We have the antagonist, our Desai Splint. All of this was done for us inside of RapidWaxup. And all we have to do at this point is just drop in our photogrammetry scan. And we're gonna pick the 2 scan bodies that were on the Desai Splint. Confirm. Upper jaw, I like to keep my intaglio flat. Desk screw for this case, and I used the Gen X narrow. This is detected for you, but it comes from picking them over here. But if you're using a different one, you can click a different one. So just hit convert. And this just makes surgery day so much easier and efficient for me. We'll just let it run the conversion process. And we get this warning here that one of our multi-units isn't covered because the WaxUp is too thin. So this is not going to be uncommon to get, so I'll show you guys how to fix that. Let's just hit got it. I have my converted WaxUp over here already. This took 15 seconds. And let's see what the issue is with the multi-unit. So it looks like our WaxUp wasn't thick enough right in this area. So just go to edit WaxUp. This is super easy. I'm gonna click add, increase my radius a little bit. Strength 40% is fine. And we're gonna press and hold option to enable. And as soon as I press that, we see this green. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more to my WaxUp until that pink ring is covered. And let's just add a little bit more just for the screw channel here and there. And let's hit reconvert. And it's just gonna start converting again. You don't have to wait 30 minutes for a reconversion. This literally takes another 15 seconds. So now we don't have that warning, and this looks good. I might want to bulk this up a little bit more right there. You can just edit WaxUp one more time. But one of the things I see is that this flattening step left a little bit of a ledge on the buccal of this implant and also my anteriors. So we're just gonna sculpt the results, and I like to use the push and pull option for this, and I like to bump up my radius significantly. You can just go here, there, we're just pushing all of that down, and we can go to the front, push that down, and there. Okay. Good. So that's pretty much done. This took me, I don't know, how long has it been? Just a few minutes at this point. And if you have a DentaFab printer, you can just click on this and kind of reposition your converted restoration so that the occlusal table is a little bit more in line with the platform, and hit generate supports. Just click this here and it sends it right to your printer, and you're printing within 5 minutes. So this is kind of unheard of efficiency. In the next clip, I'm going to show you how we deliver this restoration. And what you'll see is that I had put the splint on a little bit tilted, so I ended up with an open bite in the posterior teeth. And so I'll show you guys how to use RapidRevision as well to revise your case within 2 minutes. So I'll catch you there. Okay, so here's the same day delivery for this case. This again took about 2 minutes to do the conversion. 12 minutes to print on a Dentafab Sega printer that we have. Another 5 minutes to do the pink clear coat of glaze and curing it in the curing machine. So very quick process. I typically, from the time that I have my photogrammetry done to having a print ready takes about 20 to 25 minutes. And what you'll see me doing here is just moving the tissue away with my perio probe. I did long horizontal mattress sutures to approximate the tissue but not close it up completely all the way. And this is going to give me a really nice band of keratinized gingiva surrounding all of the implants. I like to make my intaglio completely flat, and I like to tell the tissue where to heal. I do not let the tissue determine my prosthetics. So once it's seated, I'm just checking all of my screw holes over here. Just want to make sure that I can see all of the multi-unit abutments. And soon enough, I will be screwing everything down, but I'm just gonna kind of skip over that process. All right, so everything is screwed in now, and I'll show you what happened with the bite. You can see posterior open bite, left side, right side. And typically if this happens, you gotta take a whole new set of scans, send it to your designer, wait about a day for them to get you something back. Hopefully they don't charge you more. And then you have to see the patient the next day, which is really annoying. But what I'm gonna show you in RapidRevision is how you can revise things yourself in just a couple of minutes and just redeliver that same day and send the patient home. Okay, so I hope you got some good stuff out of that clip, how to keep the tissue away while seating the restoration. Now let's show you how I revise this case within a couple of minutes. Usually a revision process takes, I don't know, a whole day, maybe a week, 2 weeks. You have to pay more to get the revision done. You have to bring the patient back the next day. Typically, if I have to do a revision with RapidArch, I just do it within 2 minutes, reprint and deliver. So I don't have to see the patient the next day. In this case, the patient wanted to just get out of the office. So I did the revision on my own time and we saw her the following week. And I'll show you guys how that delivery went as well. And it was, just to give you kind of a spoiler, it was perfect. And we're going to Zirconia within 2 weeks of the surgery. So again, let's go to new case and same patient, Crystal. Now we're gonna do a rapid revision. So let's go there and we're going to import a case to revise. We're gonna go to Crystal. And this was our Desai Splint that we did. So let's hit revise there. And it's gonna bring in all of the data that you need to do your revision. So we'll just give it about 15 seconds or so to do that. And it's got everything here for us. It has my wax up the way that I had edited it. So we have that there. And what it's gonna ask you is for an intraoral scan of the temps. So let's go ahead and put that in there. I believe this is the file. Yeah, so that's the intraoral scan of the temps. You can see all of that palatal tissue that you saw in the video, my sutures, all of that. And we have the lower jaw scan as well. We want to have the opposing. And if you did a tissue scan, you can drop that in there if you want. If you took a patient photo because you want to get your midline better, you can put that in there as well. Here was my occlusion, all open in the posterior. And let's just hit start alignment. And this is really neat. So basically it automatically aligns your wax up to the intraoral scan. And it takes just a few seconds. It's amazing technology. We're gonna confirm the alignment. And I mean, you have everything you need to do your revision at this point. So we're gonna go into refine the wax up. We're gonna move and rotate. So it's the same keys as the RapidWaxup. So let's see, we're open in the posterior. there. So what I'm just gonna do is actually I'm gonna rotate my anterior upwards, and we're gonna bring it down. If you want to have your delivered conversion as a reference, you can have that as well. And let's rotate this downward till I start to see some occlusion. And I'm gonna just shift my midline a little bit because I think it looked good before. And maybe let's bring in everything back slightly because I have too much overjet there. And we'll bring it back a little more. Okay, so now it's super heavy in the posterior. That's good. I have some occlusal spots there. And let's hit confirm. Automatic occlusion. Boom, that's adjusted. And let's hit confirm and revise. So that's basically all it took. It was just a matter of a couple of minutes here to do the revision. Once you get a little bit of feel for the software, there's no reason why you can't do it in a couple of minutes as well. And so the revision's complete. That took 16 seconds. Now what I notice is we want to get the intaglio to match. So we're just going to go into sculpt the result. And over here, I'm going to add to my intaglio, I'm going to increase the radius, and we're just going to add to it until I see that it starts to match the original delivered restoration. So that's about right there. I'm going to smooth it a little bit right there. And we're also going to, actually this looks pretty good here. Maybe I can do a little bit of a push-pull right here, just to get it matching a little more. And we'll hit done. Another thing you can do is you can angle your screw channels. So I just do that with my permanent teeth. I don't bother doing that with the temporaries, but you can angle the screw channels. But at this point, just download the restoration, print it again, and I will show you guys how this delivery went as well. All right, so here is gonna be the day the patient came back. This was, I think, 5 days later. So just taking off her temporary, and what you're going to notice when this temp comes off is this tissue is just completely flat. It's just conformed exactly to my intaglio. And again, it's a very, very powerful technique to tell your tissue how to form. So this is going to be completely flat, and look at how much keratinized gingiva I'm going to end up with to the buccal of all of these MUAs. My implants are going to be well protected. And when I go to seat my revised restoration, there's no intraoral scans, no tissue scans. I just have to make sure that my intaglio matches to my first temporary. And this just went on with no numbing, no nothing, just perfect, no pain. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to skip all of the screws over here, but I'm going to show you just as I'm finishing up the last screws here. And you'll see the patient's bite. So when she bites down, now it's a perfect occlusion, no more open bite. And she took a look at these. The midline was perfect. She loved the aesthetics. And she gave me permission to go to her final Zirconia. And we got it done within the first 2 weeks after surgery. So just kind of to summarize everything, we started with a RapidWaxup. That should take 5 to 10 minutes. The conversion should take you no more than 2 minutes, and the revision can take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes, depending on if you have to do any changes, the screw channels and all of that. But once you get pretty confident with RapidArch, which shouldn't take longer than a week or two, then you shouldn't expect to spend more than 15 to 20 minutes on any of your cases on the computer, and you should expect to be going to Zirconia pretty quickly, getting your patients done, and leaving them happy with a permanent restoration. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you haven't signed up on RapidArch, go ahead and sign up. Thank you.